baseball season is right around the corner once again, and again starting off down in Houston. This is This Week in Purdue Baseball. They debut here of the 2025 season. Kyle Charters with SID Ben Turner and the head ball coach of the Boilermakers, Greg Goff, now in his sixth season as the head coach, eighth in West Lafayette. And Coach, I think we're excited certainly to get going. This looks like on paper an exciting team, one that's going to be able to run, hit the baseball, has some depth. I, for one, am excited. I'm sure, knowing you are as well.
We are, Kyle. We're really excited and thankful it's here. It's been a quick transition, kind of faster than normal with the way we started school a little bit later this year. So, but we are prepared. We're ready to go. And as you know, I haven't slept at all the last couple of days. So it's game mode.
You barely sleep, I think, during the season. Before the season, I'm sure it's even worse.
Yeah.
Starting off in Sugar Land once again, the fourth consecutive year, we'll take on Stephen F. Austin starting on Friday, Valentine's Day, a little bit of an early start to this season. The Lumberjacks, you would think a team with the nickname the Lumberjacks would play some pretty good baseball, but it will be a nice opening weekend as we have had over the last three seasons down at the AAA affiliate of the Houston Astros.
It is. We're so blessed to have an opportunity to go back down there. They do a tremendous job with the facilities and facilitating us. As you know, we leave early to go down and practice, and they do a great job of letting us on the field and getting ready because, the number of days we've been outside has been limited with the weather up here. So it's a great setting, great people. It's like a home field, that's not in West Lafayette, which is huge for us, and that's why we do it, and look forward to continuing that relationship with them.
Coming off a 33-24 season that featured an 11-game win streak in conference play, 3 straight sweeps during that run. Really the best season since your first year on staff when the 2018 team went to a regional. Lots of fun records set last year, kept me really busy. Runs scored, home runs, RBIs, on-base percentage. There was like 15 total over various types of categories. This year's lineup, it's going to have a lot to live up to in terms of that.
No doubt.
But I think you like what you see in terms of your depth and your versatility.
Well, we do, Ben, and we lost some tremendous players last year. We still miss those guys. I text those guys all the time, just checking in with them because they left their mark here and did a tremendous job last year. But we do. We feel like you better be able to continue to rebuild when we lose great players like we did, and so we feel really good about the guys that we brought in. We've had a really good fall with the exhibition games that we played there against Louisville and Toledo, and then just the early season stuff. I think our guys are in a good place. But you never know. You never know to the first pitch, and then we'll make some adjustments from there. But we are excited about this team, and on paper it looks pretty solid.
And every season you need a mix of returnees and newcomers to find some sort of gel where they can become their own team, their new team,
Right.
and make their own story every year. But we look back at the returnees that are still with us that had a big part of last year. Gasser at shortstop, leading the Big Ten in on base and walks. Logan Sutter got off to such a great start last year, versatile on the corners and DH. Keenan Spence, man, what a month of May he had.
Yes.
With those home run robbing catches and some of those long home runs he hit.
Right.
Breck Nowick, probably your starting first baseman, if not for the injury. And some of the in-state guys like Ty Gill, Brody Chrisman, Corbin Malott, they're all back too. That just sums up your group of hitters that we're very familiar with. And you have to feel good about that core group that you brought back at least.
We do. They have been the lifeline of our program, and taking over, we wanted to develop those type of guys, and so we're excited about it. We have felt like the old guys have continued to build on our culture, and when the new guys have come in, they have really gelled together. I think these guys get along really well together, and I think just all the things that we do in the fall of community service and all the things we do off the field, I think has really allowed us to grow as a team and feel really good about it.
I asked you on Sunday during the Fan Fest, who are you going to put where? Because you do have a good mix of the returnees, the newcomers, but also as you look at some of those newcomers with Division I experience who you brought in, and some of the guys who you have returning, it does feel like there's 12, 13, 14 guys who could be in that opening day lineup, and sometimes as a coach you're trying to figure the right shuffle out into that opening day, and maybe through the weekend a little bit as well, and perhaps even through the beginning of the season. So Have you worked out who's going where yet and all of that as we get set for the opener?
We've got some lineups made. It depends on who we play or what kind of pitchers on the mound and the matchups like that. But we do. We feel fortunate that, we have 13, 14 guys that will have to rotate in there. And I tell them all the time, it's not the 9 most talented players. It's the 9 best that fit our system that do the things that we want to be done. And so, it's going to, this season I think is going to be a little different than others as far as giving the guys more opportunities, because I think there's going to be a number of guys at a number of positions, Kyle, that have worked hard and are really good players. And so we got to let that get figured out on the field.
You've got 13 newcomers from other Division I schools. A lot of those are going to figure into the mix this weekend. Guys like C.J. Richmond from Western Michigan, Brandon Anderson from Louisville, Brandon Rogers from Arizona. So those are just to name a few. I'm sure there are others that you're thinking as well. But it is nice, in a world of Division I sports now where every team is having to deal with the transfer portal. To be able to go out and get guys that have that kind of experience and be able to plug them into your team it shows a good effort during the offseason to put together another team that you feel like is going to be competitive.
Well, there's no doubt, and I probably worked harder from May through September than I ever had before, just because of the portal and all the transition. We feel really good about it, because we're not just like a lot of people where they, we just throw offers out there and see if they stick. I mean, we try to recruit these guys. We bring them all in for visits, and we try to do a good job with them, make sure it's the right fit for our culture and what we're trying to do. So we feel like we've hit on a lot of really good players that have had experience. And as you know, you want to be old in today's world of the transfer portal. So we feel like we've got a pretty good team there. And I tell the players all the time, like, they make the lineup, I don't. Like, that's what practice is for, and their hard work will definitely pay off if they can do it.
And we recognize that you would love to have the same lineup for every game. Same 9 guys, roll them out there like the Dodgers and just beat everybody.
Yes.
But that's not reality. And as I was breaking it down, I was like, wow, he has a real chance here to have some platoon options if he wants to go that route.
Right.
And that was at third base, first base, second base, DH, maybe even catcher, because you have a switch-hitting catcher now in Sergio DiCello, another guy with some D1 experience. And so it's just a matter of kind of feeling it out, like how many of those platoons you're actually going to use. And as you said, in some ways the guys figure it out themselves, because those who deserve to play, Cam Gasser, perfect example last year, ultimately play their way into the lineup.
That's right. And that's, the thing about especially being inside for so much, like, you really don't know till you get out. And the guys, the cream rises to the top. I tell them that all the time. And, I just want them to have a great experience and to work hard and control what they can control. And as long as they have those, attitudes and stuff like that, then the rest of it kind of work out.
So the flip side of the newcomers is the returnees, and you got 2 guys, in-state guys, that have been here, true 4-year seniors. Carter Doorn, who we're going to talk to here in a moment, among the pitching staff, Ty Gill, an infielder, and then Avery Cook, who did come in as an experienced guy after a redshirt year, but he's been here now the longest of anybody since the fall of 2020, and how much the world has changed since then. So, you got to salute those guys for sticking it out and, what they mean, the experience they bring. They've been to Sugar Land now 4 times. They've been to 4 first pitch dinners, et cetera. So I love to see that that's still alive in college baseball, those 4-year guys.
There's no doubt, Ben, and I just really respect and appreciate what those guys have done. Coming in here, they could have easily left at some point, and they didn't. They love it here, and so you gotta really appreciate that aspect of what they've done for us, and I'm so excited to have them. Glad they're here. It's been a journey with those guys, especially with those 3 guys, and just so thankful to have a chance to coach them one more year and watch them continue to develop and hopefully leads to a Big Ten championship this year.
Yeah, we will bring in Doorn, a senior, to talk with us on the player feature here in just a moment. And he's been a guy who has, as Ben said, really stuck it out and just grown every year. I mean, it's nice to see a player like that who certainly has worked at it and now put himself in a position where, after being such a key part of the bullpen last year, especially during Big Ten play, to probably take on a bigger role this year. Just what does that tell you about Doorn as a player? And then I guess tell us a little bit about the pitching staff as well.
Well, he has. Last year he played a prominent role and did, puts up some tremendous scoreless innings last year out of relief, and he's worked his way through. We've started him some, we've relieved him some, and we just feel like he's really come of age here lately and really grasped what we wanted him to do. Him and Coach Newman have got a great relationship. So you'll see him this weekend, starting, and so really thankful for him, and he's earned it. He's worked hard and have come a long way with the decisions he's made off the field, on the field, school-wise. It's just, and that's, to be honest with you fellas, like that to me is why I do what I do. The wins and losses, they come, but to see a young man come into your program and develop and get his degree at Purdue and help us develop this program is really why I do what I do.
Scouting the Lumberjacks is difficult. Stephen F. Austin has a number of new players.
They got all new players except for just a couple. So they are really good. I watched them a lot the last couple of days, and they have a tremendous amount of junior college players and a couple of transfers. Matt does a great job. It'll be his first year as a head coach. He was a tremendous coach and built a great program in the Division II world. As you know, that's where I came from, and so we will have our hands full. They are well coached. They will try to put a lot of pressure on us, and we're going to have to defend the field this weekend.
Should be a great weekend. Always is down there at Constellation Field. Looking forward to it getting started on Friday. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Carter Doorn will join us. That'll be in just a moment on This Week in Purdue Baseball. Welcome back to This Week in Purdue Baseball with pitcher Carter Doorn, a senior right-hander for the Boilermakers, a guy who has been around here in West Lafayette for quite a while. In an era when it's easy to take off, Carter, we do appreciate the guys who have been here as long as you have, and we've seen your progress too, from a guy who played in some midweek games to becoming last year such an integral part of the bullpen staff to a pitcher who's likely going to start on the weekends this year. Just what's it been like to be one of the guys who has stuck around?
Yeah, first off, I take great pride in being here for 4 years as a true senior. Like you said, it's very rare in today's college skate sports and baseball in general. So that's one thing I take great pride in. I'm very, very grateful that I had the opportunity to play my 4 years, going into my fourth year here at Purdue. Going on to the season, showing growth over my time here, it's just been awesome. Had a number of different coaches throughout my time here, and it's awesome to see how each one of them has played a part into my growth as a player here at Purdue.
You and Ty Gill, the 4-year Boilermakers, I think you're pretty good friends with Ty as well. I'm sure that friendship has developed over the years. I guess, has it, and sort of what's that been for the two of you to be, position player and a pitcher that have been here that long?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Ty have been playing ball since we've been 11 years, all the way from the young travel scene. Ty committed to Purdue before me initially, and then I followed him up shortly. So just going through that entire, middle school to high school, now playing 4 years of college ball with each other, our friendship has grown a lot. We've both seen each other develop as players and mature, almost coming from boys to young men. It's been awesome to see his development and growth here at Purdue, and to be able to do that journey with him it's been very awesome.
As people that work in communications, a radio guy, we like to come up with names for people and their roles in baseball. But I was having a hard time defining yours kind of last year because it was so many things, fireman, long relief, bulk innings, whatever. But it was so effective in Big Ten play. And ultimately, you only give up a run that final weekend of conference against Illinois. Your 0.65 whip, by looking at the record book, best ever we had in Big Ten play. Amazing stuff. It really started against Iowa. You found your groove and it didn't stop. I mean, was there something specific that clicked for you, at that checkpoint in the season, or?
I think it's just being confident in myself and confident in who I am and trusting my ability. I think that's a big part of it. Been very grateful to be put in situations where, the coaches have set it up for me to succeed, whether that be matchups or how they integrate bullpen arms off of one another. And, I'm very grateful to have the success I had last year. Attribute that to work, the coaching staff, and them putting me in a good position to succeed. I think that's just a very broad summary of how it all went down. So
Every season, there's games that you look back on and you remember more fondly, and the ones that proved to be more significant in the long run. Well, one of them was that Sunday at Ohio State, the last day of March. You retired 13 in a row. Purdue comes back to win that game and ignites an 11-game win streak. Men's basketball wins and goes to the Final Four that day. Just one of those days that I always remember, and you'll always be a big part of that based on that you were the fireman in that game that got out of that bases-loaded jam and set the stage for Purdue to win that game. And I guess, does that game stick out in your head as much as it does for me and Kyle?
No, absolutely, and that was the game that popped in my head right before you mentioned it. Jonathan Blackwell started that game on the mound that Sunday, and he was really going through arm pains, and he was struggling with injury. And I remember Coach telling John that, hey, just give us everything you can. And John did that to start the game, and I think he really set that game off on the right foot, giving us what he had on that Sunday. And I remember being in the bullpen, and there was some confusion about who was going to go in. And when Coach Goff walked out the mound, he pointed and he said, "Doorn." I was like, okay, here we go. Bases loaded, no outs. Just you can't think of like, okay, what if something goes wrong here? So I went out there and was like, I got nothing to lose here. It's already one of the worst situations. Let's just throw the ball,
Yeah.
And I felt like that mindset that I had going into that outing and that situation, set the tone for the innings to follow after that.
Yeah.
Just being loose and relaxed, and I think, just having the calmness that I could have is because of the confidence that the people have in me, and I'm just very grateful for those opportunities that I'm able to be in.
Yeah, you did work in so many different situations, has been alluded to, from one inning relief appearances to multi-inning to save situations. It seems likely that you're going to go back to being a starter this year, and most likely a weekend starter. It was a couple of years ago that you made some midweek starts. Just you draw a little bit back on that experience to help you out this weekend?
Yeah, so you look at college baseball and you look at the side of being a pitcher, and it's very complex. Growing up, I was a starter high school, even summer ball after my freshman year of college. In-season college baseball is significantly more complex than previous levels, and I think that goes being unsaid most of the time. And being able to mature and have those experiences as a past starter my sophomore year in some of those midweeks, and being able to learn from what I didn't succeed on and what I could take those failures and help them mold me, the goods, the bads, the indifference, and how can I take everything I've learned, even coming out of the pen, being in situations that you're going to see as a starter, watching the guys that started last year and in the years past. It's being able to take all those things and mold them into hopefully me being the best I can. And that's a goal, and I think that's part of the maturity aspect that I talk to Coach Newman about all the time is, being able to flush things and process things differently now, because I've seen a lot over my time here, like at my end of things and other players' ends of things, is like I talk to them and witness them go through these situations as their pitcher.
What is your relationship like with Josh Newman? It seems like it's a good one. You've really blossomed as a pitcher during his season plus here. It seems like your velo is up a little bit since he's arrived. Maybe some of that is just getting older and getting stronger, but some of that probably some of the work he's done as well. How has he instilled that confidence in you that you've performed so well?
Yeah, Coach Newman is fantastic. Me and him have a fantastic relationship, and every day we grow. He really lets me be me, and I think that's a big part about my growth I've had in my college career is, we have our differences and we talk it out. Some days aren't always the prettiest, but it's part of the growth about being a player and about maturing in the game. And, I had a talk with him right after last season, ended coming into this season. I was like, hey, Coach, what do I have to do to start on the weekend for Purdue? And he laid out some things for me, and he said, this is what I needed to do. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work, and it's going to be a day-by-day process. You can't look at the big picture and be there before you are where your feet are in that day. And being able to do that and, accomplish some of the things that he set out for me has been a big part of it. And by no means we're there yet, but where we were now compared to where we were in the past is further. Yeah. And that's the big thing is how much better can I get every day as a whole and as a pitching staff. And I think Coach Newman really brings that essence into this Purdue pitching staff.
Most looking forward to this season, playing inside U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis or going out to Seattle, a place that Purdue baseball has never been?
Yeah, so I think the U.S. Bank Stadium is going to be awesome, but I will say that going to Washington is going to be very cool. It's one of the states I have not been to. I've been to pretty much all the West Coast states, up north and south in that entire region, but I've not been to Washington. So going out there, seeing the beauty of that state from what I hear is going to be a lot of fun, and it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to.
Definitely one of the perks of the job, seeing new places and being able to mark states off the list, because that is a lifelong challenge there to get all of them. Meanwhile, when you saw the schedule for the first time, and UCLA, Arizona State, Washington, Notre Dame, etc. were all on there, did it make you do a double take, did we change conferences?
No, I mean, it's super cool seeing the expansion in the Big Ten. Having UCLA come out to us going out to Washington. Seeing these teams that we didn't get to play and experience in my first few years here at Purdue. It's awesome. It brings a new light to the Big Ten, and it brings a whole new depth to the conference as well. I think that's going to be awesome. I'm sad I only get to experience it 1 year, but in years come, I think it's really going to bring a whole other dynamic to the Big Ten Conference as a whole, because that West Coast style of baseball is way different than the Midwest style of baseball and the South style of baseball. So I think it's just going to be really cool to see the progress and how the Big Ten plays out in years to come and this year as a whole.
Wanted to talk about the newcomers a little bit, at least among the hitters. Who have you kind of felt like was a tough matchup for you?
Yeah, all our hitters are great, and you have to attack each one differently. It was a lot of fun learning how each of the new hitters work and how their swings are and what gets them out throughout the fall and even throughout this winter as we've been inter-squatting. I have a really good relationship with C.J. Richmond. I played ball with him in high school as well, and he's always been me and him have always battled from live ABs going all the way back to sophomore year of high school, just in training in the wintertime, things like that. So seeing his growth throughout the years is, I haven't seen him for 3 years of college now. Him coming to Purdue this year and seeing how much he's matured as a hitter, what he's excelled in, and the weaknesses that he's improved upon in his time here and since I've seen him last have been really awesome. I always love having him in the box because I know it's going to be a challenge. And I know that my best stuff versus his best stuff, he can go any way, and it's a lot of fun. And having those hitters and those challenges is what you want as a pitcher. Is like, okay, he got me last time, but what can I do to make an adjustment to get him this time? So then he has to make an adjustment and learn from that. And I think me and him had a lot of that throughout this fall and throughout this winter so far.
I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but if you get the ball for the opening day start, what would that mean for you?
It would mean the world for me. I've worked so hard every day, and I'm just grateful to be in the position I'm in. And however the season pans out and whatever role that I have, I'm going to do my best to succeed in that role. And if it means I get the ball on Friday night, I'm going to go out there and, perform to the best of my ability, and whatever that may be, I'll be content with, because I know I put the work in to be where I am, and I'm very grateful the Lord has blessed me with such a tremendous opportunity to be in this position.
We like to close things out with something lighter, some personal preferences we call. We're just trying to learn more about you. We have you pick a number. I always say there are no wrong answers. We just want to find out what you enjoy off the field a little bit. So between 1 and 37, a long list for week 1.
All right, let's go 22.
22, about right in the middle. Favorite food or meal?
Okay, so by far, this is an easy one for me. By far my favorite meal, I grew up going to Canada fishing with my dad and a bunch of our buddies a lot. Fresh walleye off the lake is the best, goes from the fryer from the water in an hour. It's nothing beats that for me.
That sounds pretty good right about now. All right, between 1 and 37, don't pick 22.
All right, let's go. How about 36?
Your number. I always like to pick your number. A Purdue professor whose class you enjoyed.
Oh, Jason Merchant. He's my professor now again in 450. I had him for 150. I had him for 200, and he's the only professor I text on a weekly basis via cell phone number. He's awesome. He's very in-depth Purdue fan, loves Purdue sports, loves baseball. Just a fantastic guy, and he's a relationship I'll have outside of Purdue when I'm gone as well.
Cool. That's why we asked these questions. You did give us the course numbers, but let's make it clear here. Construction management technology.
Yes, sir.
He's a professor in that
Yes, sir.
department. Got it. All right, last one between 1 and 37. Don't pick 22 or 36.
All right, let's go 11.
11. Current teammate with the best baseball instincts.
Best baseball instincts as a current teammate. Oh boy.
You can give us a hitter and a pitcher if you want. Spread the love around.
All right. So I would say a pitcher, Chris Gallagher. His baseball IQ, his instincts, and just his knowledge of the game is incredibly deep. We play the athlete game, like first letter, last letter of the last names, and like just his repertoire of just history of the game of baseball and his instincts and his IQ is incredibly deep.
Another indie guy like C.J. Richmond,
Yep.
who's come here for his final season.
Yes, sir.
And his delivery is quite something to be seen, too. We've
Yes.
seen Avery Cook's sidearm. Well,
Yep.
Gallagher seems to take it even lower.
Yes, he does.
So excited to
Absolutely.
see him on the field at Alexander this year.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Hey, have a great time in Sugar Land. Should be a great opening weekend. Will be nice, I think, to be back on that familiar field, right?
Absolutely. Like fourth year going there,
Yeah.
it's going to be very comfortable. The staff there treats us very well. It's an awesome place to be, and really looking forward to getting down there this week.
Purdue will open on Friday against Stephen F. Austin for the weekend series at Constellation Field. We will have these podcasts, This Week in Purdue Baseball, every week leading into the weekend series. All right, that'll do it for this week. Thanks to our guests, Carter Doorn and the baseball coach, Greg Goff. For Ben Turner, our producer, Corey